Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and as there's no card reveals over the weekend, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to ask, well, Blizzard or just whoever's listening out there, where is that balance patch that was promised where we were to get changes to Elise? And well, they said a lot of other stuff. We still haven't heard a word about it, and I wanted to go over when we could see that patch as early as next week, or maybe it's coming with the expansion, not entirely sure, but we'll go over what I think it could be, as well as Wild needs some serious help right now, and I just feel like it can't be ignored anymore. So we'll talk about all of that. Of course, we still have our giveaway going on for 2 regular pre-orders and 2 mega bundles for Cataclysm out of my pocket. To enter the giveaway, like and comment in the video, link down description below, the one with that thumbnail over there. Be subscribed to the channel. Every 1,000 subs we get until that rewards track refresh goes live, I will add another mega bundle. So hit that sub button, make me go baroque. And also, just a heads up, I'm still planning on trying to take Sundays off from uploading on YouTube. I haven't done it the last 2 Sundays, and honestly, it's been nice to have like 1 day off a week where I don't have to stream, don't have to upload. It's been kind of nice. We'll see if we keep it going. But yeah, don't expect a video tomorrow unless I get bored and decide to do one anyways, which could happen. You never know. The reason I'm on this page, by the way, the patch notes from 34.4.2, which saw the changes to Morchi, which was just so huge, on January 27th. We've heard your feedback about Elise, the Navigator, and she will be getting adjustments because she plays such a big role in the meta. We're planning her update as part of those larger and more impactful patches. We appreciate your patience as we chart a new course for the famed explorer. So those changes haven't come yet. They haven't been announced. Typically balance patches happen every 2 weeks after a major client patch, which we just saw a major client patch with the pre-order go live and all of that. So that can happen typically, a week and a half to 2 weeks. So we're kind of due for that to happen. And that could be the patch that we see Elise get changed and set up for rotation, where there are quite a few things that probably need to be addressed. A certain blob, one might say, or ravenous fell hunter, one might say. Because yeah, if you take a look at H's replay front page, where it looks at stats, so I think diamond through legend, you can see that demon hunter near the top, dragon warrior / quest warrior doing really well, aura paladin, which could be something you might want to take a look at. DK with the leeches, although they're losing a lot of stuff, but leeches are really strong. And now mage is up there with the new Draenei thing, right, which is leaving, so there's no point in nerfing, but yes, it's really elevated mage and all of that. So what could get changed besides Elise? We know Elise is going to get nerfed. They have effectively confirmed that. So if you haven't crafted her yet, for whatever reason, do it. You'll get your dust back. You might as well. It's like a free trial. But yeah, we look at the meta. Something's got to give with Demon Hunter, right? At Legend, 3 of the top decks are Demon Hunter. At top 1K, it's kind of like in a tier S spot with the Ravenous Fell Hunter and the Blobatar thing. There is a big argument to be made that it might not be that problematic because they're losing that weapon and return policy with rotation. But still, the main core of that issue is there. And I still think it's Ravenous Fell Hunter. And yeah, Dragon Warrior's another one we absolutely should expect some changes for, because the majority of that deck is staying. Plus there's a bunch of good dragons we've been seeing, right? So it's something you probably want to consider. And then yeah, I mentioned Aura Paladin right up there. It's not losing a ton, something you might want to look out for. And overall, everything else is kind of just like competitive. It's out there, probably nothing too crazy to look at. But before we go into what I think could get changed for standard, I do want to bring up Wild, because Wild is in a brutal spot where if you look at the ranks, 56% Warlock right now. That is absolutely nuts. Paladin's at 2nd, Druid at 3rd, and every other class is basically struggling. Like, it is brutal, although Priest does have Desmani Priest, which is a big problem at higher Legend. And if we look at the meta, they just know H's replay feature for that. So let's take a look at H's Guru. Look at Diamond through Legend. Warlock, Paladin, Warlock, 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 a low sample size Hunter, Warlock. It is ridiculous. And then it's a lot of Druid, right after that. If we narrow it down to Legend, it's just look. This is crazy. It's all warlock, all druid, and Asmani priest. That is really rough. It's extremely warping, and it's just not very fun when you're facing. I've seen so many people post screenshots of like they have faced 50% warlock because they have the burn warlock and the egg warlock. One is super aggressive, the other just gets a giant stat bomb on you. So let's take a look at what I think should get changed or could get changed, whatever you want to call it, for standard and wild. Again, I don't know if they'll make wild changes, but we even have that 3-4 that's coming, right? That we went over yesterday. That's going to make discard warlock even better. And we haven't seen the warlock cards, so there's a chance they might have targeted discard too, right? Very possible because the technology is there. It's really cool, but it also affects, you know, the whole standard format. So obviously Elise is going to get changed. We talked about it before, but making her 5 mana disrupts the curve. But the one that really scares me more than anything is the copy, right? If you copy a colossal, any colossal, you copy the main body, it will then automatically spawn the extensions. Can you just think with like Ajara or whatever, the Demon Hunter Colossal, if you're already fully upgraded, you got 16 damage, right? +4 is 8. And then the Wind Fury, if you copy Ajara with the copy location, that's 32 damage. So like something's got to give with a copy. Like remove it, I don't know. Summon like a copy of a non-legendary meaning. I don't know what to do, right? Like it's really scary to think, unless they like make Elise really expensive and gut it. But you can make the armor gain less, you can make the raptors spawn less of them, have worse stats. There are so many options. You can make the locations have less durability. You can do a lot of different things, but the copy thing to me is the most scary. So I really hope they seriously consider significantly either nerfing this or outright changing it. So yeah, that's something to look out for Elise. As we mentioned already, the Blob of Tar situation is been pretty crazy, right? Where that card alone just like is the best card in standard outside of Elise. It's so hard to get through. And then of course with Ravenous Fell Hunter, with Demon Hunter, which is not rotating, gets even more and more crazy. I would love to see first Ravenous Fell Hunter, just change it to either just summon one minion or has to have multiple versions, something. It's already had multiple cards get nerfed because of that card. Like at some point, can we try something else out, right? And you can also just argue that Blob of Tar itself is too good, and you could argue it should be 5 mana, which would take it away from Ravenous Fell Hunter. You could argue that. I feel like you hit at least Ravenous. You could argue Blob of Tar as well, but to me, Ravenous is a real standout, a really silly one that should be looked at. We talked about Aura Paladin, what could be hit, and to me, the most egregious card of it all is how consistent it is, right? You're always drawing the damn thing with Ursine Maul. I just don't know if this should have like 4 attack or something. Like maybe make it have less attack so it's not so premium a weapon. You could make it a bit more expensive. That's also an option, but I just feel like the consistency of the deck is so nutty with Ursine Maul. I don't think you nerf the new ramp card, and I don't think you nerf like Gelbin or anything, but Aura Paladin does look pretty spooky going into rotation, so hitting its consistency could be a thing. And then the other card I just want to talk about is for Rogue. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Rogue, and no, not Shadow Step, even the, you know, it's rotating. Okay, I had to bring it up just one more time. Deja Vu just, I feel like, is a tilting card. I don't know if it's a power outlier or anything like that, but the fact you get hand information, you get a mana discount, so it can allow you to copy just amazing cards and play them before your opponent. Can you imagine this with Colossals, right? You just Deja Vu and take their Colossal. I just feel like it's too efficient. Whether you take the mana cheat away, you make this more expensive itself, or I don't feel like if you make it random, it's just kind of terrible. I just don't think you need a mana cheat when you're already getting hand info and arguably a really good card on average from this card, and it's a standout. And I do expect Rogue to be quite good after rotation despite losing step. They have one of the strongest standard sets, so Deja Vu could be one of those preemptive changes and just one that really irks me at the moment. And yeah, we gotta talk about like Dragon Warrior and Quest Warrior and all of that. I feel like for me, if you're looking at Control Warrior, they're losing Brawl, they're losing Hostile Invader, they're losing a lot of good tools, But regardless of that, I will put my bias aside as a control warrior enjoyer that Unleash the Crocodile is silly. This should be like less armor or something. It's so crazy. 1 mana, gain 10 armor is just, I feel like it's way too much. So you could put it to 8 armor. You could even put it to maybe 6. And I feel like it could still be playable. It's a card that really stands out to me. Another card that I would take a look at for Dragon Warrior. Remember that Dark Rider, one of the best cards in the deck, right? Used to be a 1/1. This guy here, you can revert this back to being a 1/1. Like, it doesn't need to have the premium 2/1 stats. I could easily see that being reverted. This thing is so strong on 1 now that dragons are so good. But the big one, the obvious one, is just, I think this card is stupid. I just think it's dumb, the amount of stats you get on it, and it's not just gonna be warrior after rotation probably, right? We know we got like already some dragons for hunter, and there's dragons all over the place. Druid, this card is just silly. It's so much stats for 4 mana plus the elusive. All you need to be doing is holding a dragon, and removal's getting worse now with rotation, that a card like this absolutely to me should either be scaled back in stats, but more realistically make it more expensive. Make it 8 mana so it doesn't come down on 4, or take the discount down, something with that. But dragon decks are looking really strong going into rotation, so I could see multiple Dragon Warrior nerfs. And another card that we absolutely have to talk about that came out the same set, Remnant of Rage, is also just a really dumb card. The best enablers of it, at least that we're aware of, unless you know new cards come out, are rotating for Demon Hunter, like the pirate location and all that. But why is this a 6/5? It's already absurd as a 0 mana draw to you. Why is it also like a threat? I could see them nerfing the stats. Remember not Bone Mare, Corridor Creeper, right? 0 mana 5/5, that was busted. It didn't draw 2 cards, had an easier condition, but still, this thing is just redunculous at its stat line. You can make it more expensive, it could draw less, but honestly, I feel like the stat line is the most ridiculous part, considering when you get it out early, it's just gonna kill you. You can't even ignore a 6/5. So that's something to really look out for as well. And yeah, I'll mention War Master Blackhorn. This card is really silly. It's very polarizing, obviously, but it just hits too many things. It's too much of a catch-all, and I feel like there's been a lot of negative sentiment toward. And to me, yes, it punishes the decks I don't like to face, but it'd be hypocritical of me to say, yeah, I don't think this should get changed. I feel like something should be done, whether it's more expensive, making it more narrow, cost 1 or less, right? Make it like Skulking Geist to an extent. I don't know, but it is very polarizing when you just auto lose to 1 card that your decks, you know, because they put this 1 card in your deck. I just don't think that's healthy game design, and it is seeing enough play, at least in Quest Warrior. Maybe we'll see more play after rotation. We don't need more polarizing like tech cards that are really effective, and I just feel like, again, I would have no issue with this being nerfed, but I will laugh if it gets nerfed, and I will go, yeah, 1 more nerf, bro, to all the people that always say 1 more nerf, bro, to us whenever we want stuff changed. But yeah, again, I could absolutely see it happening. It does have a warping effect on the meta, especially a lot of the cheaper combo decks. People just don't want to play it because it feels so crippling to lose to. And then you have Wild, we talked about Warlock. There's like 3 archetypes to look at. Discard Warlock has been insane forever, and the main outlier, especially again with the 3/4 that's coming, that you know it's going to be even better with that, is Soul Barrage, right? Just keep getting more and more damage more and more times. You just kill your opponent. Like, it's just, obviously with Expired Merchants, it's insane, but there's more and more synergies also with the new 4 mana weapon. I don't know what you do with this. I don't know. You can't make it more expensive. You have to like nerf it by making it cheaper or something, right? Like, I don't know how you go about it, but something has to change with Soul Barrage. I guess you could kill the card, have it hit minions, but that's one. To me, another one is Blood Bloom, because of the whole, like, this one's not as top tier as the other ones, but you know, the whole the boar thing where you Blood Bloom, you Bat Mask, you nuke the board. It's, again, maybe make this more expensive, rework this, that it can only hit like spells that cost like 5 or less, and put it back down to 2 mana or something. I don't know, but it keeps creating issues even at 4 mana, and it's really silly. And then, yeah, of course, the other one is the Egg Warlock, where I can't spell, but Umbra, the big enabler of it, not only in Warlock, but Druid's just a bit slower, so people don't play it in Druid, where Umbra, after you summon a minion, triggers Death Rattle effect. You can just change it to being after you play a minion that triggers Death Rattle effect, maybe make it a bit cheaper. Does kill other decks that utilize that, but this is always going to be the issue with other Death Rattle cards. You could argue making it 5 mana so you can't cheat it out with like the Sacrificial Summoner card or whatever, and makes it worse with Oaken summons. But this card, or banning Egg of Kelos entirely, is something I feel like the Wild format needs, right? It's that combination of cards. It's Egg by itself isn't a big deal. It's with Umbra, it's absolutely game breaking. Of course, I will always mention Hostage Mage, infinite ice blocks, infinite solid alibis, all of that. To me, the standout, and I'll just keep saying it until maybe one day it changes or maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But Romath, right? Romath, I feel like should just be once per game. I know it's lazy. I know it's boring. I know that's not what people really want, but at the end of the day, once per game, you can't infinitely Potion of Illusion it, and then, you know, it does the thing forever and ever and ever. I feel like when it came out intentionally, originally it was supposed to be a big bomb of value, and only in Wild has that continued to be a problem. It was never a thing in Standard, and if it was there, it would have got nerfed. So for me, once per game. And then, yes, I'm going to mention my Druid because, you know, I love Druid. Druid's my most played class. I mostly just play Druid in Wild, and I do play this deck. But again, put my bias aside, this card creates problems, mainly with, you know, Dungar or Barnes, Yssel. I have no idea what you would do to change this card, because making it more expensive won't do much. So your spells cost like a certain amount less, you know, instead of just costing 1, but that can create problems when you copy things up. I don't know if you rework the card somehow, but Yssel just creates these like insane OTKs as early as like turns 4 and 5 with a lot of these decks, and you saw all the Druids on there. That can be a bit of a problem. So again, I feel like something's got to give with Druid as well, and it would really help out the format. Will any of this happen? I don't know. It's probably pure copium, but when the numbers are that startling, where there's that small a frequency of other decks have any competitive validity, something needs to happen in Wild, and that includes Nismani Priest, where I don't know if you nerfed Nismani. It does create a lot of gross things, but at the end of the day, if you just put Echo on light speed so it can't go to 0, it's rotating anyways. You just nerf it to do that, it won't be a problem, right? It can't be 0. You can't infinitely buff a Stone Tusk Boar. That should really get around that. So those are the decks, the cards in Standard and Wild that you could maybe expect to see change. Maybe there's other ones. Feel free to mention. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, but overall, yeah, these are kind of the changes we kind of need to see, at least some of them, with rotation. And we could see that as early as this week, or they just wait for the major expansion patch and put it all then, which so that they don't have to deal with like the nastiness of Elise being nerfed in the 2-week or a month weird pocket meta. It'll be an interesting one to see what happens. I'll let you guys know as soon as I hear. If you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.